I'm Matt Bouchard with REIT.com here in La Quinta, California for NAREIT's 2013 Leader in the Light Working Forum. Joining me today is Sara Neff, Director of Sustainability Programs with Kilroy Realty Corporation. Sara, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Can you start by telling us a little bit about the evolution of sustainability efforts at your company?
Sure. Well, Kilroy has been a real estate investment trust for over 60 years, and the entire time it has been focused on energy efficiency and indoor air quality. We started as an industrial company. John Kilroy Sr. was the one who discovered that if you kept thermal comfort in mind, you could actually cut out a shift in an industrial process because everybody wasn't so miserable that they would actually be more productive. And so from those beginnings, we have been building good buildings for decades now. And then I came on in 2010 to formalize our programs. So our programs are in three areas. There's sort of excellence in new development. All of our new development goes for LEED certification in existing buildings. So that's energy and water retrofits, recycling and revitalizations in the existing portfolio, electric vehicle charging stations, that kind of thing. And then community and outreach, so all the reporting and awards and speaking events and articles and that kind of thing, because we think it's really important to engage the community as well.
And in what ways are you able to measure your sustainability efforts, and what sort of results have you seen?
Portfolio manager and Energy Star benchmarking is sort of the foundation of all of our efforts. So, for example, last year we know that we reduced our energy use across the portfolio by around 5 million kilowatt hours, which is the equivalent of planting 86,000 trees and letting them grow for 10 years. So we know that we saw sort of those results in energy. We're having a huge push into water benchmarking. So we know that we save about 10 million gallons of water every year, but we don't have full water data, so we're hoping it's actually more than that as we do more programs. So it starts with energy, then goes to water, and then as well with waste.
And how actively does your company promote your efforts, and what sort of response have you seen from the investment community?
We really actively promote our sustainability programs. It's in all of our investor materials, in everything that sort of goes to investors. And then I would say the response from investors is it's interesting. I feel like investors say that they want the information, but I'm not quite sure that they know exactly what they do with it when they get it. So we've noticed investors more and more asking, and we're able to provide it because we have formalized programs and formalized reporting. But then we're not quite sure what happens at that point. But we know that investors are increasingly interested, and so we want to make sure that we're demonstrating excellence in that area.
And it sounds like you have quite a few projects and initiatives underway, but if I forced you to narrow it down to one project or initiative that maybe best exemplifies what you're doing at Kilroy, what would that be?
Sure. Well, we just achieved the 31% of our office portfolio is LEED certified as of this year, so we're going for a third. But yeah, I think that it makes us quite distinctive amongst other office REITs and real estate owners in general. That we have a really big push towards LEED certification. I have another 3.2 million square feet in the pipeline, and so when those are all done, we'll get to 46%.
And the last question, if you were going to say what the next evolution or phase of sustainability might be, what do you think that could be?
Well, for REITs, it's figuring out how to get this financing thing worked out, because a lot of the people at this forum have figured out how to take advantage of PACE and make solar happen, and that's wonderful, but it's still really quite difficult for us. And I think once the pump gets primed, we'll see a lot more projects happen. And then in tenant engagement, that's still a really pretty tough nut to crack. And then finally figuring out really good practices for reporting. I think everybody's still kind of concerned about how you account for a building where you don't own all the meters, and figuring out a fair way to sort of represent that. So I think those are sort of the next things where to come. So tenant engagement, good reporting, and figuring out the financing.
Sara, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
For more on this and other REIT news and analysis, be sure to visit REIT.com.